Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Before and Afterthought, which just should, as always, Queen Krazy K. Be sure to not only watch, but hit that like, that subscribe button. Also, go over to Queen Krazy K on Instagram, like them pictures and videos and stories, and also follow me on there at Queen Krazy K as well. This is gonna be an hour-long podcast, at least. If it's longer, that's fine, but at least the hour long. It's gonna be a double knockout over the last Raw, SmackDown, including an additional NXT. And those of you who are watching the video and liking it and subscribing, check out some of my other videos that I also put on, including my recent Raw results video from last night's recent Raw, my Iowa trip that I just took in Des Moines with the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, new Women's Championship belts being revealed for both Raw and SmackDown, our road to Money in the Bank for July 1st down in London, a road to in August, which you can enter to win for a Detroit SummerSlam ticket to go to SummerSlam, which is the second besides WrestleMania biggest pay-per-view all year round. And also I did some other videos, my Raw prediction video, seeing the new Beast release with this Rise of the Beast Transformers. Really great movie, ready to see the next one. On my way to see The Flash this weekend with Batman and Superman in it. So those of you who love superheroes comics, that's for you guys. I'm going to show my Raw video first. Now this is a couple of weeks ago, so follow with me through here. Got Big Time Bex getting attacked by Trish Stratus and Zoe Starks, who screwed her at Night of Champions. But give an example, beating Sonya Deville last week, to give Trish Stratus an example for attacking her before, and Zoe Starks by beating Chelsea Green last night. And the new World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins that I've been saying since day one was going to be it. There's some fireworks to celebrate Monday Night Raw. That's bad. Walking him back home as the World Heavyweight Champion as well over this last weekend too. Including a couple of my other podcasts. For this and more Before and After That podcast, you can watch and subscribe to it. My rapping videos, entertainment and acting and interviews, hosting my interviews as well. And just in general, as you can see there, with Seth Rollins on the Miz TV, end up being Seth Rollins face to face with AJ Styles, getting the respect between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, as they have so much in common. Both WWE former champions, both WWE tag team champions, both been in Money in the Bank opportunities, with AJ Styles defeating at Money in the Bank John Cena, Seth Rollins defeating John Cena for the United States Championship belt at SummerSlam. And both of them are a former WWE champion, with their sign of respect that they got that stole the night and the show of it all at Night of Champions, as I said was going to happen. And the Ricochet teaming up with Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman is out right now on a neck injury, but Ricochet continues on the behalf of his partner to be the Ninja Warrior, dominant on Monday Night Raw as he is. And Zoe Starks has got to be the lucky woman. You got to be in the ring with the Horsewoman. You got to be in the ring with one of the Hall of Fame legendary trailblazer women that made it possible for WWE to be existing as a superstar for a female, let alone the championships that come along with it. That's right there, whether she's a good guy or a bad guy. That's an honor right there. Zoe Starks with being on After the Bell with Corey Graves as well. That's got to feel an honor, having Trish Stratus, who started it all, wrestle beside you and respect you, and you get to work even though you're within the ring of Big Time Bex, one of the dominating horsewomen of WWE, who created NXT, where she came from, a former NXT champion, former NXT tag team champion. And you had Sami Zayn, who is the Raw, one half of Raw and SmackDown tag team champions, who was on After the Bell, being a former Intercontinental champion, the king of manipulated mind games. Also coming off of there with his best friend Kevin Owens, who's the other half of the Raw and SmackDown tag team champions. And He was also on After the Bell. If you want to check that out. No Celtic Warrior workout. The other one was not a WWE superstar interviewer. Was outside the WWE workout. So then you see O'Donnell making his presence. Not only winning, like fighting his way in the battle royal, but winning his match and making an appearance backstage since the NXT to find his way here. These are just some extra ones I wanted to show you, like Diane Quinn, like in my comment, Corey Graves, like in my comment, who I like from NXT and Monday Night Raw commentary. Fighting the new Spider-Man Universe meal, along with seeing the Spider-Man Universe movie, ready for the third one, because obviously it's if you watch it, it looks like a reading comic book. That a third one obviously says to be continued to the next chapter, with Reed being dominant and destructive as he is on Monday Night Raw. And that was the funniest moment of the night. Seth Rollins was better than him to play mind games with Rhea Ripley as the World Heavyweight Champion, and Rhea Ripley being the Women's Champion of Monday Night Raw. Why I have to keep saying Women's Champion of Monday Night Raw is because now they have created two different ones for both Raw and SmackDown. That's why I'm like, well, it's a Raw and a SmackDown Women's Championship belt, but now it doesn't have a color to it. It has, it's just white and gold. So now you can say that's the Raw Women's Championship belt without it being red. That's the SmackDown Women's Championship belt without it being blue. Now it doesn't have a necessary title brand on it. With them being on the brand, they don't have to switch it and do all that. They can just hold on to it and call it as their own on the roster that they're on because of the fact of the cover. So with that being, I'm glad that they did that for the women though too. That Seth Rollins gets a new WWE Championship belt, and then they made one for Asuka on SmackDown, and they also made one for Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. So it's all fair that, hey, if a man gets a new one, the woman should get a new championship belt. People like Trish Stratus making that championship belt exist as a women's championship belt, not a Divas one, and now you got one for Raw and SmackDown for the women, and it's a new one, just like the men's. Boom, just like that, within the last 2 weeks. So my thing is though, if you guys can do that and upgrade the championship belts that they already have, you need to make another set of tag team women's championship belt as well. They got Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, the tag team champions on Monday Night Raw. But why don't you set a pair of tag team titles on SmackDown as well? Because the NXT tag team titles don't really count, because obviously they're NXT's titles, because that's the only one they have for the women's division. So they should make another one for the women's division. That's what I'm saying. You made 2 new belts, 3 new belts actually. You could have made another set of tag team titles for the women's too. Anyways, talk about championship belts opportunities. NXT, we had Corbin appear and make his appearance to attack Carmelo. Apparently wants a championship opportunity on NXT, and then Carmelo from this last week punched Corbin in the face for that, including when he put his hands on Twitch. That I think tonight Carmelo owes Baron Corbin a beatdown still, unfinished business, along with our Raw Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins burning it down, making his appearance since 10 years on the NXT. Gonna get the praise that he deserves, the respect that he deserves, singing and praising his name and praising his song to him, as he's going to go face to face with Bron Breakker. What is he gonna say? He's gonna accept this challenge, of course, and burn it down on NXT, baby. That's what he's gonna do. We all know that. Bron Breakker then poked the thorn, and now he's gonna see how it feels when it's the other way around. He provoked it, and now he's gonna get stick by it. You don't mess with Seth Rollins. He's the king of manipulating mind games. I don't know why people don't understand that. You can't mind games a mind gamer. And he's been so successful. He's got an open challenge also next week on Monday Night Raw for the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Obviously, my money's on Seth Rollins, of course. And also my prediction for the Women's Money in the Bank, since it's almost complete, but I'm still going with Big Time Bex to win the Money in the Bank and get an opportunity against Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship belt. As far as SmackDown, that is my prediction for this coming Monday Night Raw, including Logan Paul returning. What's his next move? We'll find out. That is based off these Raw over the last week's results out of character in the bump NXT. My NXT for tonight's predictions and my Monday Night Raw for this coming Monday's prediction. And also, I still think on Friday Night SmackDown we had a whole show set. They already announced all the matches and everything. Like, they've been talking about one topic with the Bloodline, but when we was there, they mentioned all these matches already set up, ready to go. They're already, and I'm gonna show you the matches and give my predictions. But because we still got these other Raw and SmackDowns to get through, I'm kind of jumping the guns here. But we started talking about NXT, so I thought I'd throw that in there with yesterday. And I'm not gonna mention yesterday's Monday Night Raw. I'm just talking about over the last 2 weeks. So this is my Raw results and what I think based off of the last 2 weeks Raw results for these coming Raw predictions and road to Money in the Bank towards SummerSlam. I think that Logan Paul is trying to get a SummerSlam opportunity match, but my thing is I don't know who's going to go against because he already went against Roman and Seth, who are the major champions that you think Logan would go after. So I don't really know who he would pick his poison with, but I know he's probably trying to get a SummerSlam match. And with Matt Riddle, with the situation with him and Gunther, I think he's next in line for Intercontinental Championship opportunity against Gunther, as Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens was able to regain themselves and beat them in a tag team action for what happened the week before. And I think Matt Riddle now is going to go against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship belt. He had Ali, who appeared on NXT as well. Now, I think maybe finding a home there back in NXT, coming from Retribution, coming from the United States Championship, getting an Intercontinental Championship opportunity, appearing on NXT. Ali is making some moves, making some decisions, and finding his way, finding himself and his journey and what he's going to complete next for his next chapter. And as far as that goes, those are the major things. We also had Gigi unfinished business between her and toxic relationship. Now, once we're tag team and friends, and now bitter enemies, and still getting the best over Lacey, JC not letting JC get the best over Gigi, letting her know you attacked me before, you destroyed what we had before, and now it's my turn to pull out the guns, and JC can't handle it. JC can say, I'm evil, I love what I do, and I love what I did to you. But Gigi's like, I got a whole nother set of level, a whole nother side of me that you ain't seen yet. And putting the new NXT Women's Champion, putting all the women in the NXT in the roster, whether you were there live, whether you wrestled for NXT, putting them all on notice as well for a new NXT Women's Champion. On top of it, I'll talk about the female roster drama and altercations going on in matches and championships. I thought I'd throw that in there a little bit because that's a big major thing. That's a big main issue. I think Cora Jade is one of my favorites. Cora Jade would have to be one of my favorites on NXT in the women's department, and then Silent Quinn, my favorite in the men's department, along with Carmella Hayes. Can't wait to see Seth freaking Rollins return after 10 years to NXT tonight against Bron Breakker to obviously respond to him. And Carmella Hayes, unfinished business with Baron Corbin, so it's going to be two major things going on there. We got the Maximum Models, who was on Out of Character, training with that Academy, who would have went over the Viking Raiders in the tag team action over this last weekend. Now, Otis is doing good in the wrestling. I mean, he gets to be a model. Chad Garrison gets to still be an Olympians champion that he wants to be, and by fighting in the wrestling business with winning that tag team action last night. I'm mentioning a little bit of Raw last night because it builds up to there. It builds up to all together. Those of you who are watching and watch the whole thing, like it and subscribe, you get additional because I'm adding last night's Monday Night Raw. If you know, this is a double podcast. But next week, obviously, I'll add last night's Monday Night Raw because it'll be a new podcast. But I'm adding it now since it just recently happened, and it makes sense for with that Raw results over the last 2 weeks, including an additional yesterday for my upcoming Raw prediction and Money in the Bank and tonight's NXT and this Friday's SmackDown. You have the Bloodline. I think that Jey Uso, getting mad at Jimmy, and with Solo, with Jimmy getting revenge on Solo for what he did, including that additional tonight, and Jey getting mad at him, and Austin Theory being the United States champion. I think with Roman Reigns' return to SmackDown, they're obviously trying to play mind games, what Paul Heyman tried to do, turning Jey Uso against Jimmy, and I think that Jey's going to stick by Jimmy like he's been doing since day one, the Usos in a tag team on SmackDown. And I still think the Usos are going to make a match against Solo and Roman Reigns in a tag team match at Money in the Bank. That's what I think is going to happen at Money in the Bank. Including our WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins to remain as such against Finn Balor, making history at Money in the Bank as well, who was also on the bump over this last week. The first one on the bump returned back to the bump, and now he's got a championship opportunity at Money in the Bank against Finn Balor, who they fought for the first ever Universal Champion to be revealed that night. And they get to make it history all over again. After, what did Finn Balor say, 7 years been waiting for something to say? Well, now 7 years, we're going to see what you're really made of. And he did beat Seth on the first round for that Universal Championship belt, becoming the first ever Universal Champion in WWE history with an injured shoulder. But right now, I think Seth Rollins is on a whole nother level, and this time it'll be Seth Rollins remaining as the World Heavyweight Champion against Finn Balor at Money in the Bank. Like I called that match was going to happen, now I'm calling what the match is going to result in, including the Usos versus Solo and Roman in a tag team match in this Friday Night SmackDown, going to take it to Money in the Bank. And I think that with Bianca Belair, her turning heel maybe, with Charlotte Flair returning and in the mix with Asuka, I think that that's a good thing, because Charlotte this SmackDown, my money's on her to beat Asuka for the Women's Championship belt, and then Bianca Belair can challenge Charlotte because she's the last horsewoman that she needs to beat to complete beating all the horsewomen, and then she gets to be a champion again and hold the new Women's Champion at Money in the Bank for the EST. Bianca Belair, but you made history by beating all the horsewomen, technically make you a fifth horsewoman, you get to hold the new women's title, and you get to make your statement at Money in the Bank, a pay-per-view, which is bigger. Usually, Raw is great, SmackDown is great, even toss in a little NXT in there, AEW even, Impact, Ring of Honor, Women of Honor, Lucha Underground. But pay-per-views is obviously more expensive, more, trying to get up there, especially with Money in the Bank, and it's like, no matter what pay-per-view they do, it's more expensive because it's more things happen and bigger things happen. I think that Seth Rollins match is going to still the match of the night with him and Finn Balor. That's going to be the match of the night. And like I said, big time bets for the women's. I would like to see Ricochet win the men's one for a Money in the Bank opportunity, because he's been doing a great job as a tag team with Braun Strowman, and then really doing a great job in the singles. He's a former NXT champion, he's a former United States champion. Well, it wasn't NXT, it was a Lucha Underground, but still he was a champion, known as Prince Puma. Prince Puma, known as Ricochet now, was a Lucha Underground champion, and he's been former United States champion, and I think he deserves that opportunity to be in the mix-up here. And celebrating the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, former WWE champion, former two-time tag team champions, beating legends like John Cena at Money in the Bank, being the former United States champion, and now the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, celebrating his birthday this last weekend. Well, it wasn't this last weekend, it was a couple weekends ago. But within these couple of weeks. No other than a phenomenal day. And I'm going to show this Roman notes. Let's tiptoe over a little bit. Let's make our way through to another part, another situation outside of WWE, but still involves a WWE superstar. Talk about supernatural superstars. Talking about Finn Balor, the other half of him, which is a demon, which is supernatural superstars, would bring me to Alexa Bliss, who is currently right now pregnant. We talked about Corey Graves and Carmella. Yay, they're pregnant, having a baby boy in November. But let's talk about how Alexa Bliss is pregnant. She's also going to have, I think it's a baby girl, they said, also to celebrate Alexa Bliss too. And maybe she can come back and become a women's champion, kind of like Alexa. Let's do that. On Monday Night Raw, kind of like Big Time Bex got to do at SummerSlam. Get to make a big impact, get to go have a baby, and then come back and show that you never lost with your mojo in the ring as well, and become a women's champion. That would be pretty cool to watch. Future thinking, future plans, future ideas, future matches, and timeless. And with that being said, I wanted to throw that in the mix because I think that's proud. I'm happy for her. And I think that I needed to mention that since I mentioned Corey and Camilla. I thought I mentioned, then mentioned Alexa Bliss. What about her having a baby? What about her congratulating the new world that could come back after, like Big Time Bex did, and tongue tied here with too many names, like she did, and become women's champion. And Paul Heyman trying to manipulate. Paul Heyman been around for years. Got to manage Kurt Angle, got to manage Brock Lesnar, managing Roman Reigns, tried to manage many superstars getting in the head before that with CM Punk, Curtis Axel, tried to get in the head of John Cena. Paul Heyman has been around for years, being a Paul Heyman guy is what they would call it. But he knows his way around the ropes, and he knows his way to a superstar's head, obviously, because he's still there and gets the top superstar's mindset going. And with him being a top manager around there, he's trying to get in the head now of our manager of Raw and SmackDown, Adam Pearce. He's trying to manipulate him and trying to say, well, you know what, this and this had happened. And now it's all about them getting in the head of Jey Uso. Now this time I think Jey Uso is going to find his senses because in the past, we've had Roman Reigns when Jimmy was out, and that's what I think gave that little opportunity for Roman Reigns to manipulate, to suck Jey Uso in, because with his other half, like it's been Jimmy and Jey Uso, Raw Tag Team Champions, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, been Tag Team Champions in the WWE, never ever stabbed each other back, always been down since day one with each other and having each other's back. Never once, if you watched all the videos, they never once attacked each other and went against each other. Not the Usos. And with Jimmy being gone, then that's what gave Jay like, man, I've lost my other half. That's all I got. That's all I, want. And then that's what allowed Roman to get in his head, to get in his mind, to try to spin it around a little bit, play a disc like a disco ball, or playing like a DJ like a disc on it. He got to swirl that around his words, his head, and get him thinking and feeling it, as well as his brain was thinking it, then his body was feeling it. And then when Jimmy came back like, yo, you ain't got to do that, it was already too late, Jay's already sucked in. Jay's already into it. Now it's kind of hard to whip somebody out of a brainwash when they already got the brain washed. Kind of hard to pull them out of there now because, like he was saying, you wasn't there. What else was I supposed to do? Let it out on my own and then jump by 5 different guys out here when I got the bloodline to make sure that doesn't happen? It's kind of like the Judgment Day coming together because they wanted their respect, and now Rhea Ripley's a women's champion. Damian Priest is a former United States champion. Finn Balor is the former first ever Universal champion and Intercontinental champion, the leader of this group, and now getting a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity at Money in the Bank against no other than Seth freaking Rollins, who made history in the first place with them. And now, and Dominic has a legendary like Rey Mysterio, who's his father, who's the biggest little man in WWE history. Former tag team champions. So now that they find their path, whether you love them, whether you hate them, whether you boo them, whether you cheer them, they are a dominated individual superstars and together unstoppable team as the Judgment Day on Monday Night Raw. With that being said, that would bring me to the Bloodline. Talked about the Usos tag team champions, Raw and SmackDown tag team champions, the greatest in WWE history, tag team champions and tag team, and particularly who's always had Judgment back since day one. And then you have Roman Reigns, former WWE champion, longest Universal champion, has the World Heavyweight Championship on his shoulder, won former Royal Rumble, been United States champion, been Intercontinental champion, been tag team champions, been in dominating with the Shield in NXT and Raw and SmackDown. And now he's dominating with the Bloodline. And like I said, the history of Paul Heyman's managing with Kurt Angle, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, top champions, top dogs around them, destroyers, dominators, whether you like it or not, they are a destructor. They are invincible. And with seeing them through that, with seeing them getting ahead of that, if Paul Heyman can manipulate Roman Reigns against Brock, which first it was him and Brock against Roman, and now it's him and Roman against Brock, Roman was able, when the other half he wasn't there physically, to manipulate Jay, to get him sucked in. Former being a former, and also you got added to the equation the brother, Solo Sikoa, a former North American champion on NXT as well, a striker, a dominant, as Paul Heyman would say, a conqueror. Now you got him added to the equation, also pulling you on your other side. But it's like, while Solo was on NXT, Jimmy had your back. Physically. So think about that, and that's why y'all never stabbed each other back. And now that Jimmy's gone and Roman sucks you into this group, it was there for you, but who was there for you since day one? Jimmy. Who had your back since day one? Jimmy. Who saved you at Night of Champions where Roman thought he was too good for you? Jimmy. Who pulled you out of that to show you were more and you were worth as an individual WWE superstar? Jimmy. And Jimmy was only sticking up for you because let's not forget that Paul Heyman said, well, he put his hands on the Tribal Chief. Let's not forget that the Tribal Chief has put his hands on him. Pushing his face, telling him to sit down. He ain't gonna sit down. He pushing his face back. He's putting his hands on his brother. Of course he's gonna kick him in the chops. And then did it again because he hit him before that when he tried to turn Solo, his own brother, against him. Which is why he had to tangle up with Solo this past weekend. Dump him out of the ring. Kick him out like he did them. Slam his body down for also ruining an opportunity that Jay could have been United States champion if it wasn't for Solo. Jimmy wouldn't have had to go down there if Solo wasn't out there. Because you know there's only out there not to help you but to go against you. To do exactly what they did, make it look like it was all Jimmy's fault and why you lost that championship, why you lost that opportunity. And now they're putting you two against each other. So now you got both of these situations here. You got these opportunities here. Now it's like with Roman Reigns being there, Paul Heyman and Solo being there, they're wanting Jay to join as the next Tribal Chief. And Jimmy's like, are you going to choose them? Who Roman only does when you want him to do? And Solo, who obviously stabbed you in the back, and Paul Heyman, he's just there. He just tries to manipulate you. Paul Heyman manipulating you, Roman only doing what you want him to do for his sake. Solo, who stabbed you in the back, or Jay, who's always had your back since day one with Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, Penitentiary. And I think that's what's going to cause that tag team match at Money in the Bank between Solo, Roman Reigns, and the Usos. That's going to break the ice. After this Friday Night SmackDown, with everybody in the equation, that is what's going to break the ice. That is what's going to drive it to there. To finalize it once and for all. To stand up for what they believe in once for all, instead of all these altercations, instead of manipulating, instead of these physicals, instead of these fights, these brawls, these don't know how to do it or what to do. That's what's going to break the ice. And that is how the decision is going to be made for them. We also had Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville talk about Beneficent Mind Game and Tag Team. We also had them on the bump this past weekend as well, who, like I said, Big Time Bex being Sonya Deville, making an example for Trish Stratus in front of her face last week, with Trish Stratus on her magazine cover making an example in front of Zoe Starks to show why she's famous, why she is Big Time Bex, for what her athletics she does for her, not for her looks. Dominating the other half, Chelsea Green, right in front of Zoe's face, where she'll get her hands on Zoe and the Money in the Bank when she becomes Miss Money in the Banks. We got one more spot for the women now. And that brings me to, we don't know the qualifications for a woman qualifying, but that's what brings me to Bianca Belair. Now, if Belair's in there, I already know Belair's winning it. And what better than her do it, because she hasn't done it yet. So, that's what's going to bring me to, Adam Pearce said, oh, Bianca Belair would get her opportunity because Asuka cheated with the mist in the eye at Night of Champions. Then Charlotte comes, brawls with her, and then Adam Pearce is giving her the opportunity. And Bianca's like, but just a few seconds ago you told me I had the opportunity, something I never lost. She gets to just come back and cut the line for what? And of course him acting like he doesn't know what to do. Well, I say this SmackDown, let Bianca Belair earn her way in and qualify it. Not that Charlotte earned her way. Gets to just hit her and get an opportunity. But with her doing that, that would make then Bianca can call the shots whenever she felt like it. And that's what brings me to Charlotte Flair this Friday Night SmackDown becoming a 15-time women's champion, one step to being at the top of the mountain with her dad, Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, being the Nature Girl. Woo! Together at the top of the mountain together over Asuka once for all this Friday. And then Bianca Belair, with her qualifying into the Money in the Bank this Friday Night SmackDown, she could be Miss EST Money in the Bank. And then that Money in the Bank, if she wanted to, after she won that women's champion, after she won that women's briefcase, she could take it to SummerSlam. Versus Charlotte at SummerSlam, the last horsewoman she needs to beat to complete beating all the horsewomen and become a women's champion once again at SummerSlam. And like last SummerSlam, it was Bianca Belair getting redemption, being Big Time Bex at SummerSlam, earning her respect when Bayley and Damage Control started appearing with Io Shirai that she brought along with her, and Dakota Kai, former tag team champions, former NXT champions, her being a former Miss Money in the Bank, Io Shirai being already in ladder matches on NXT. They're already experienced. But they ain't going to be able to figure out whether you want Bayley or Io Shirai. So they're going to be fighting each other and be like, well, what about me? Well, why would I do this for you? We could be tag teaming, friend or whatever, but only one woman can win that briefcase. That's going to turn them against each other. And Becky Lynch is going to be basically getting her revenge on Zoe for what she did. And Trish Stratus might even be out there to even up the odds. Someone in the Money in the Bank will be like, that's not going to happen. Zelina Vega saying, nah, you ain't going to come out here and do that. And that will leave the EST, Bianca Belair, to qualify herself in the Money in the Bank this SmackDown. Win the Money in the Bank, take it to SummerSlam, and challenge Charlotte for the women's championship to be the last horsewoman to complete as the fifth horsewoman and be women's champion again. This SummerSlam again making history for the EST because she'll be Miss Money in the Bank, which she's never done. She'll beat all the horsewomen completely, and she'll be another number added to how many championships you want. Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, the new Women's Champion. What better than to do it like they'll be talking about that all year? SummerSlam all up until April when WrestleMania comes again and will still take place in Philadelphia. So with that being said, I'm going to show my last Raw and stuff as well. So let's pull that up and get right onto it. Well, this is going to be SmackDown first because I did not show that one. And then we have the American Nightmare's Cody Rhodes defeating The Miz. That's another thing. Defeating The Miz on SmackDown. Miz gets in his head, talks about his father on The Miz TV. Cody Rhodes chops him in the mouth, takes him out for trying to attack him. I think the American Nightmare is going to handle Dominic as he beat The Miz on Raw. Now beat Dominic once and for all for that little cheap shot at Money in the Bank as well. Singing a message still that he mentioned to Brock Lesnar. Well, this is Rebus and Karen Hayes. Now he also should have a singles national match on SmackDown too. So let's see. Along with Pretty Deadly, who when they tag team with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, who was still Raw and SmackDown tag team champions. But that's what I was talking about with the Usos and the Bloodline. And see Jason Joy still working as well for part of the security that no one can stop this next new level. EST Bianca Belair is on a rampage. Just like no one can stop her to qualify this Friday night SmackDown for the last woman's spot. It's only right that Adam Pearce puts Bianca Belair on this opportunity this Friday night SmackDown to get the last spot at Money in the Bank to win the Money in the Bank and challenge Charlotte for the Women's Championship belt at SummerSlam. Talk about predictions for this tonight NXT. Talk about predictions for this coming Friday night SmackDown. Predictions for next week on Raw. Predictions for Money in the Bank. How about predictions for SummerSlam too? And I think that match was still the night of that one. Of course, on my next podcast, you'll hear me mention the Money in the Bank and Friday Night SmackDown, SummerSlam again, and results and stuff. So, with you following, liking it, and subscribing, you'll see more podcasts of me talking about it. I'm just talking about everything that's on my mind and head right now to get it out there. And then you hear me talk about it for weeks and weeks. Now, this is the Raw results that I'm going to show you that added an additional to it. Bron Breakker calling out World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Like I talk about Seth Rollins, so he's gonna, get his praise because he hadn't been there in 10 years. And you really think he's gonna let some newcomer when he was the first ever NXT champion in history try to tell him as the World Heavyweight Champion. Seth freaking Rollins has been through everything. Like I said, first ever NXT champion, who's been tag team champions, World Heavyweight Champion currently, WWE Champion, Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, won the Miss Money in the Bank, and he was Mr. Money in the Bank, completing his mission, beating legends like John Cena in the ring, who's my favorite, greatest of all time, I'd say. Who's been in there with Randy Orton, also part of the greatest of all time, Rey Mysterio as well. Of all time, with altercations and altercations, and dominating with the Shield, and dominating. Now he's the face of Monday Night Rollins, still running it and burning it down as Seth freaking Rollins, because he is the revolution. He is the revolution. He is Seth freaking Rollins, and he will burn it down when he goes back to his home in NXT, where it all started, as the first NXT champion against Bron Breakker face to face as our current World Heavyweight Champion. And when Zelina Vega, being the first entered into the Miss Money in the Bank on the bump, how she's going to win that match and that opportunity with LA Knight, who qualified his way with the Street Profits for that tag team opportunity. Yeah, that's another thing. It's gonna be. I'm going for the Street Profits. Good tag team championship opportunity against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that would take place this Friday night SmackDown. We'll have, obviously, you got the Academy, and then you have the Street Profits, and you got all these teams wanting this opportunity in this match. And my money, I'm going to go with the Street Profits. Should get an opportunity against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to be tag team champions once again. This Friday night SmackDown. I wanted to mention that prediction along with the, I think that match with Solo and Roman and the Usos is going to happen at Money in the Bank this SmackDown. Bianca Belair, like I said, for the Money in the Bank Women's, with Charlotte becoming champion against Asuka. And those are the major things. I don't know if Camilla Hayes will be on SmackDown again because he was just in the crowd at that time. It might take place tonight on SmackDown with him and Corbin, along with Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker tonight at NXT, and then those altercations will be predicted for SmackDown towards Money in the Bank that I already predicted towards SummerSlam. And obviously you'll see my Money in the Bank predictions when the matches are completed, and SummerSlam when they're completed, along with these Raw and SmackDown podcasts that I do. You might be before and after thought. You watch these videos, you like and enjoy these videos, you subscribe to my channel, you'll see these podcasts like that, including like my Money in the Bank and SummerSlam completed predictions, Raw and SmackDown predictions. You follow me on Instagram and like it, you'll see the updates and the stories on there. You'll see my rapping videos, my entertainment, my acting, my hosting, my own interviews, in addition to it as well, and me and my niece and nephews and dog and family, cousins and aunt and uncles, and what I do in general. Funny time, good moments, that type of stuff. With Ronda Rousey breaking character during commercial break as our Raw SmackDown Tag Team Champions, with Shayna Baszler from Mission Tradition, who dominated this past Monday Night Raw in a singles action as well. Maximo Amato, she might get an opportunity against Sarah with that little cheap shot that she did with the Viking Raiders and the Man Academy. She might be up, Amato might be getting in the ring with Sarah in a singles action. Welcome to the women's division, along with the attack from Scarlett and Karen Cross against AJ Styles. The phenomenal AJ Styles, Mia Yim, my money's on them for the mixed tag team as well. That's going on this Friday night SmackDown. Now, I wanted to show you all results. And like I talked about, Zoe Starks, one half the tag team women's champion, former NXT champion, gets to work with a Hall of Fame legend like Trish Stratus and Night Champions, and be in the altercation with big time Bex One on Raw. She's doing great for herself on the belt. Seth Rollins showing why he is the World Heavyweight Champion against Solo Sikoa, I was talking about. With Rollins against AJ Styles and the Universal WWE Champion, and Twitch that you may hit him and Corbin, hit him for, him on Hayes, but I think he still was in for himself. with the American Nightmare acknowledging the bloodline with the Usos. Yeah, he acknowledged. He said he acknowledged Jimmy for sure with the Usos, that they're better than that as a team together. And Braun Strowman with that neck injury, soon to return for Ricochet's tag team partner on Monday Night Raw, and also Liv Morgan soon to be with Kelvin tag team on SmackDown when she comes back from her injury as well with her birthday. That was this last week with her being a former Miss Money in the Bank, WWE champion, one half of the tag team women's champion as well. Check out my Raw results, SmackDown results, Raw Prediction, SmackDown Prediction by following on Instagram, like it on Instagram, and subscribing, like it on YouTube. This and more podcasts like it. Host my own interviews, entertain with my Raw and SmackDown results, and also acting with the predictions, including short stories, just funny snippets, and with me producing good times since I'm rapping as well. That's why you want to watch, you like, and subscribe on Instagram and YouTube and check them out. You like the music? There's rap for you. You like entertainment? There's my podcast for you. There's my acting, which is just hilarious and additional to it. Totally free. Just a click of a button. Gosh, I'm amazed who knows good taste in music, dancing to American Nightmares music as well. Bring the missing noise on Peacock. Hall of Fame and Legendary, and also the Resting in Peace of the Iron Shrink. That Sergeant knowing Hall of Fame Legendary bio will represent Rey Mysterio for the late Eddie Guerrero. One Man Band show, the Undertaker, the dead man himself, as well, in addition to go on WWE.com, buy things like this. All Year Wrestling Cup, you got Finn Balor, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, John Cena, Kofi Kingston, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, American Austin Theory, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Rey Mysterio, and Seth Rollins, along with Trish Stratus and Solo, and Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Asuka, and Liv Morgan, many more on things like that as well. You get things like this. Got to meet and greet, as you can see. I'm gonna show you here. My predictions. We all say "woo" every time we go to those events, or "yeah, LA Night," or "hell yeah," or what? Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, whoa, oh, Seth Rollins. Those are things you'll hear naturally with these predictions at the WWE live events. I got to meet Asuka, getting a picture of things like this. Hand signed by I seen her. Getting the trucks right there. Getting the pictures with the trucks right there. Or like the Ultimate Warrior, the Undertaker. Big Time Best was on one of them that I saw leaving. With the All Year Wrestling Cup, All Year Wrestling shirt at the event. With Seth Rollins remaining the World Heavyweight Champion, being welcomed home against Damian Priest. When I singing to him and enjoying being welcomed home. Standing on the table for people like me to get pictures of Real and Hero being beaten by the Street Profits in a tag team match. Before Raw and after Raw went out there, and a dark match, by the way. And then during Friday Night SmackDown, see all the cases with Jim Gay and Solo and Paul Heyman. The only Usos and winning, yeah, and that's what you hear. I love to know. Raw and Shanti and their Money in the Bank opportunity as well. Got 2 rows away from touching Seth Rollins' hand. Get things like these right here. I was there 2023. Just was it $40 this time? Or buy it half off. Days like Raw and SmackDown for $25. It's easy to get it started. Look at this. Easy. My Austin Theory with the Mr. Money Bank one more time. United States Championship. I got Roman Reigns on my birthday. He'll be my tag team partner to try with Chief Universal WWE Champion. And then going to meet House, getting her autograph, and then wearing the all year. I was the wrestling shirt at the event, including the cup that you can get off that I showed you. Joey was strong there. Dogs like Cameron Shea. Take a smile, man. Thinks he's a lapdog. Took a few pictures. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Well, sorry. Okay. Okay. I don't know what they're doing, but they took a few of them. Like a few of them on there. I don't think they had a shot or what happened. I got the AJ Styles just paying him phone bill, small like it's going for 2 days, and then got his autograph. And the autograph got to meet Oxtra. And the New Day on the pancakes. So I meet the New Day who threw me a pancake. Oxtra took a few pictures when AJ Styles met by paying a phone bill. Seth Rollins got 2 chairs away from talking about. I was in the background on him and Matt Riddle and Corey Graves saying who was touring like my Colin Lawrence Iron Quinn. And I was in the background Karen Cross. And AJ Styles attacked me was like me too. I showed you guys that video too. And getting the upper closest she's like decking the trucks outside of there. And it's easy to see when Shinsuke Nakamura stuff wrong to say, and yeah, I was there on night as well. For the Usos were right there right in front of us. Last Valley's welcome home Seth Rollins. Oh, my shoulder's cracked. Sound goes breaking my bone. Feels good though. So I can go. Here's the voice that I have to show. All the buttons off the road. What? That's how long it took for the match to start. Singing his song when he came out, like they did in Kansas with the Charles past week. And then just in the spotlight, him as a champion, that's what we kept doing. Like they did him trying to talk. And then he stood on the table, let's do it again. When match was over, welcome home like he did. That's what it was like, just constantly doing that. See. Still on the table for people like me to get a good video of us seeing. Including in the spotlight his entries, his spotlight, his championship, and after that, like Kansas did with him talking. Got 2 chairs away from him. Looks like a ghost got his hand on it. Anyways, that will wrap this up. As far as that goes, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like. Be sure to hit that subscribe. Go on that Instagram. Hit them like. Check out the videos, the highlights, and the pictures that I got on there. Go ahead and like them. Be free to comment as long as they are appropriate and respectful. And go ahead and like and follow on Instagram and YouTube as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Krazy K is out. Peace.